Hello and welcome back to Tesla News. My name is Marian and I'm your host today, and we will talk about ICE being done. Yes, it's not a big surprise, but we will look into some numbers from the past in other circumstances and why ICE is currently just dying. And we will look into the premium connectivity and Giga Shanghai at the end of the video. The first thing here is for European customers right now. You have to pay now for the premium connectivity if you are a leaseholder of a vehicle in Europe. This hasn't been the case before, so currently people were having that included. But if you are now taking a new lease, you have to pay the $9.99 per month. And for those that are currently having a lease, this price increase is also coming. So this is a change. We have seen many things happening over the past weeks, and this is just another change when it comes to pricing. But I think Tesla has reasons to do that, and I think they do know what the reaction of those few people that lease their Tesla will be. So I'm very confident that is not going to be a bad impact on Tesla brand. So again, guys, as I said, main topic today, it's going about Tony Seba, which book I read as well. And the 2020s will be the fastest, deepest, most disruptive decade, I think, for all those following Tesla. We do know that already, but sometimes when you are doing videos like me every single day, it is really hard to go a bit far away and have a different perspective that we are currently already in this curve of change. And this is something when we are currently talking about supply chain and issues like the war in the Ukraine and other things happening, like for example in Shanghai, we sometimes forget what is actually happening here. And if we take from Tony here some examples of charts, we see market share of car versus horse. We have seen this change just with 20 years. It just took 20 years and it was gone. And of course, a horse and a car is a different thing than an ICE car and an EV, but nevertheless, the same change will happen. It's the same with smartphone. You have such a curve up. Smartphone, new product, it's better, it's fast, it's more efficient, you can do more with it. It's the same with EVs. You can do more with an EV as with an ICE car. So the share of EVs will accelerate in the coming months and years. It is just a question of time, and we see how fast that went with the smartphones. Of course, smartphones are cheaper than a car. We also see that example, for example, with ride sharing versus taxis in New York, for example, from 2015 then towards 2020. So it clearly shows where this entire change is happening and how fast this change can happen. We're also going to look now into an example from Stockholm, because Stockholm in this case was a good example to take here. Of course, there are certain areas in the world where it's not that far yet, but in this case it is. We have the hybrid cars in yellow and the pure electric cars in blue. And the gray graph that is coming down here is the market share of regular ICE cars. And you see we are already at the breaking point where the EVs are taking over when it comes to the market share. And we see that curve. And if you look at that curve and you compare that curve in a second to what I just showed you a few minutes ago with the horse and cars curve, we are already at that breaking point. In some areas, we are already over that breaking point. In other areas, we might still take some time to get to that X where you are just like breaking through and the EV market share is bigger than the ICE market share. But it is just a question of time. And please let me know what you think, because sometimes we forget how important it is, how fast it goes, how technology is driving this change, and so many people don't see that yet. Many people are in their daily hustle. They do not see this change coming, and I think we are still a very small group of people here on YouTube and outside of YouTube who understand what is actually happening here. But it's not only what's happening right now with the EVs, and that is the special thing about this decade. It's not only about EVs as a car that is driving with a battery. No, it's also about self-driving capabilities and the same developments, the same curve and the same takeover when it comes to market share of cars that can drive without any intervention. That is also going to happen very soon. And the only hurdles, the only struggle on that way is how fast can companies be able to produce enough batteries, drive down costs, offer cheaper cars, being able to attract even more customers to that change. And of course, right now, there's not too many cheap cars. And like in the history of the situation with horse and cars, at the beginning the cars were so expensive, just the elite or the rich people could afford that. And we are still in that process that we need more cheap cars, so it's gonna get a mass adoption. We are still not at that point if you are looking into worldwide numbers, vehicles in ICE industry versus the EV space. So guys, I hope you understand now, if you haven't already, that it is about damn time. And the next few years will really show us what's happening, what curve we will take, how fast the speed of adoption will be. Last, I just want to talk about China. What's interesting here is we see a lot of cars brought to customers, and that was yesterday. And the question I'm asking myself here, maybe not too many cars are going to be exported because they still deliver cars to Chinese people in China, which is actually not normal for the first month of the new quarter, which was still yesterday, April of this quarter. So we have as well the ship going to Europe, but nevertheless, something is strange about that ship. The Viking Adventure is also doing a destination Ningbo, which is usually not the case. So we still have to wait with what Franco Musotto or other people who take care of tracking those ships will let us know. So again, guys, lots of new news, lots of stuff happening, as you know. If you are new to my channel, do consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. If you like to know more things, new things from Europe, updating you here from Germany. So thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. You can also add me on my podcast, Tessie Supply. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend and take care. Bye-bye.